Hey, I'm Al Korelin. Thank you very much for joining me. We are in Bellevue, Washington right now, chatting with the president of one of our client companies and a very good friend of mine and my family's, Harry Miller. The name of the company is Clifton Star Resources. In the interest of full disclosure, I have to say a couple of things. One of them is they are clients of ours. We do their SEC reporting for them, number one, and number two, we have shot video for them in the past, so keep that in mind. Big Al is far, far from neutral on this company. I really, really like it a lot. I have been involved with Clifton Star almost since day one. I think it represents one heck of an opportunity. And in terms of mining companies that have truly been successful over the past 3 or 4 years, CFO, and that's the symbol, has done very, very well. Harry, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for coming by and at our house.
Well, you know, it's amazing what I'll do for a meal. Let's talk about 3 or 4 things specifically about Clifton Star. Now, we shot a video for the company about 2 years ago. It was not nearly as advanced as it is right now. You had not done the JV with Osisko yet, but it's amazing in terms of the asset there. You got Osisko's interest, but prior to the advent of Harry Miller and the owners of the property, nobody really seemed interested in it.
Well, I'm not quite sure that is correct.
Okay.
The fact remains is that that property had been sitting sort of idle for a lot of years, since 1956 when it closed down.
Okay.
And they were trying to get it back into production, and they unfortunately had some problems. It was the price of gold, it was inadequate funding. So it took a while, and the owners wanted to wait for the price of gold to go to $1,000, and I guess perhaps too, they also wanted the right people to come along. So
Sure.
we're fortunate, and I feel rather blessed that we were able to secure this property for our shareholders.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, your Vice President of Exploration, Fred Archibald, is second generation Archibald working on this property.
That is correct.
His father was involved in it also.
Yes. His father worked with the elder Smerchansky, who was also a GO. And so it's a generational kind of relationship that's been established here. We're rather fortunate. Coming back to what you were saying earlier, we drilled approximately 100,000 meters over the last number of years. So yes, it's advanced to the extent where I was able to secure Osisko's participation in the project. And this year, they had committed to 120,000 meters of drilling.
Additional.
Yeah. And to a total budget of $15 million. But they were able to arrange with their drillers a $40 a meter price. And with that, Al, it would appear that they're going to be drilling a lot more than 120,000 meters to chew up that $15 million budget.
Sure.
So I would not be surprised if that escalates to even as much as 200,000. Now that's a prodigious amount of drilling.
Huge.
In any project in Canada. With Osisko, the drilling they're doing on their project, ours, and the Brett Resource project. I think they're the largest driller now, or use of drillers in Canada today in all commodities.
What is the size of the asset controlled by CFO right now? It's I know when we first got involved with the company, you were down 43101 numbers. You were down around maybe 450,000 ounces or thereabouts.
We on our own today? Before we were able to get Osisko involved,
sure.
We got to a 43101 2.6 million ounces. And that does not include some other assets that we have on the ground, i.e. cleanup, tailings, that sort of thing. We think that as of the drilling we did last year, that we should be probably somewhere between 4 and 5 million. Now, obviously, that's not 43101. But with the drilling that Osisko is doing this year, obviously, again, that should be increased substantially. We will not know that probably until January or February of next year, when Osisko completes their modeling, and then we will know, and then they've got to go through the process of getting a 43101. So it's going to take a little while before we go through this. This is a large undertaking.
Yeah.
And right now we've reported approximately 25% of the drill results. So there's a long way to go yet. And it's coming, albeit slowly, but it is coming. And I think the analysts and our shareholders will get a better understanding as we go towards the end of the year as to what we in fact do have.
Harry, arguably you have one of the most promising assets in North America up there on these properties. But you know, as you know, and as our viewers and listeners to my radio show are painfully aware, it takes more than just an asset. You've got to have the people. Let's talk about the people involved with Clifton Star.
Well, let's start with our more recent acquisition on the board, and that's Ross Glanville. He's a mining engineer. He sits on the board of a number of companies, Baja Mining being one, and they just arranged for a $500 million worth of funding to put their project into production. He's been invaluable as far as we're concerned in analyzing what we do have. Philip Nolan, a tax attorney with one of the largest firms in Quebec. He was one of our first people that we were able to secure on board. Fred Archibald, obviously, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
And Fred has spent a great deal of time on the property, clearly. Started working on it actually on his own in 1987 and drilled privately for the owners. And then he's been our man on site since that time. Peter Gundy, he was one of the original founders of the potash company out of Saskatchewan, one of four. And I guess maybe I should include myself. I'm in there as well.
Yeah, you're a what I would have to say probably one of the most effective businessmen that I've known in the past 25 years. But all that aside,
You're too kind.
So I know that. Okay, so you've got a great management team. You've got an asset that's very, very promising. You need money too, Harry. You got money?
Well, the reality is, Al, with the deal I made with Osisko, a $107 million deal, we really don't need any money. And we've been offered all kinds of dollars. There have been over $100 million at the last count from investment bankers.
And you don't need it?
We don't need it.
So you're looking out for the shareholders. You're looking to basically...
Well, I prefer not to dilute the base. Right. And we have right now about $4 million in the Treasury. With warrants being exercised, it will probably go to about $20 million by the end of the year. Yes, we do have commitments to make, i.e. the payment to the owners of a $22 million commitment at the end of December of 2012. But fortunately, if we don't raise the money, then we can borrow from Osisko. And
you've got 2.5 years.
We have ample time.
Exactly.
Yes, we do. Agreed.
Interesting. What would we say in summary? I guess in summary what I would say is, again, here's a company that Big Al has known for a long, long time. We're very, very up to speed on the company, and that Ken Golden of our firm is doing all the SEC reporting. Any information you want to know, by the way, about Clifton Star, you can simply go to the website of among other websites, of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. It's all there, www.sec.gov. Every time this guy sneezes at night, he's got to report it to the Securities and Exchange Commission, and so you know that that is truly unbiased information. You can also click on the banner on our website for Clifton Star. You can get all the information there that you would like. You know, I have to say, once or twice in a person's career, a really, really good situation comes along. Now, don't construe this as being investment advice, because Big Al's not a registered investment advisor, but I have to tell you, this is a company that I think really, really shows more than promise. I think it's well on the way to becoming a major, major player in the mining industry in Canada. Harry, thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. May I add, by the way, this is a gold prospect. I don't think we mentioned that, the fact that it's gold.
I would think that everybody would know it's a gold prospect. Symbol is AU. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.